Affairs analyst and former chief technical advisor to the Imo State governor. He does favor us from time to time, and today is one of those days. So, good morning to you.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Thank you very much up there, guys. I was hearing things I shouldn't be hearing. Okay, thank you. So, there's a way in which we want to talk about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's reform agenda. When he was away in Brazil, he described it in poetic terms, you know, that, look, he is aware that things are tough, but they were indispensable, you know. I think the exact phrase he used was, my reforms are like bitter medicine, and they have to be taken. First of all,
to get the cure.
To get the cure.
Absolutely.
And if people bother to read the story beyond the poetic headline, they will see that he had said that Nigeria needs to be reset. And so this is where we are. First of all, what are your impressions of President Tinubu from time to time acknowledging that this is a bitter pill, but
yes,
always quick to come back on, guys, there is no choice if we're going to survive?
That's an interesting conversation to have, because in my view, where he keeps pointing at is that our local people in the rural areas, the people of Nigeria, the common man, the average man and woman, need to feel the impact of the reforms that have been positive. That's where he is going. And that is why he makes a conscious effort all the time to remind our governors and local government structures to take the opportunities of the reform agenda results as they continue to accumulate to impact our local people. All politics is local. Listen, the best way governors and local government chairmen of my party, the APC, and remember I speak from a private sector standpoint, that's right, who I am.
That's right.
The best way to support Mr. President's agenda, including his re-election, is to get out and get the impact of the positive and accumulating results of the reform agenda to impact the lives of our people in the local environment. That's where the deficit is.
Okay.
Now, let's dimension it a bit further. Last month, money at FAC distributable to the tiers of government, federal and subnationals, hit 2 trillion. The month before that, it was 1.8 trillion. It doesn't end there. States that are a part of the oil-producing states, Niger Delta and so on, their 13% derivation is doubled. So the monies are flowing. Now, our governors, particularly the APC governors, must take the lead. Our people in the local environment have to feel this impact and can feel and smell and touch the impact of the reform agenda of Mr. President. Some governors are doing so. I know others are planning to join. In my state, for example. Imo, my governor has increased minimum wage to 104,000. That's a good thing. He's increased salaries for doctors, teachers. They're recruiting more teachers. That's a good thing. His meeting has several meetings with local government chairmen, encouraging them to do more in their local communities. They have more money now to spend. What else is he doing? Okobi, supporting the Okobi one kindred, one business, to say stakeholders come together in each kindred and put some funds together or seek support to start some business activity that can create jobs. He's invested money in the Imo Digital Center, where thousands of young people are being trained and equipped to be part of the global workforce. I'm not even going to get into so many of them. The Orashi Energy City, where is it now engaging with investors to bring power supply to Imo. All of these require heavy investments. But having said that, you like his politics or not, what I'm talking about are the things on the ground that he's doing. And many other governors are also doing the same, different things. In Enugu, even in Ebonyi, Kaduna, look at what many governors, in Akwa Ibom State, empowerment of small businesses. Federal government just stepped up the game. As we speak, in all wards of the Federation, 1,000 people, lists now being compiled, that 100,000 naira each to 1,000 persons per ward, small businesses, traders, to help empower their business so they can hire 1 or 2 people, expand it to what extent. And if you qualify for more assistance, the state governments will look at them because they have microcredit. So that's the point I'm making. Get more of the impact to the local government and those rural areas. So you have more roads, drainage, improvement on security, key to how we get this impact going. Remember, that's my focus. How do we get the results of this reform, touching more and more of the lives of our people?
You know, the president is doing precisely that, as you have said, and
Yes.
he himself has striven to put this across to the people. But you hear a lot of observations that we were hungry, federal government should do things for us. Is this how you're going to be looking at us? To which he has always responded, talk to your governors.
Yes.
Talk to your governors.
So here is the point.
Is there a situation
Yes.
where, for some reason,
Yes.
all of these laudable things,
Yes.
some of which you have just spoken about, are not commonly known?
Okay, so this is the point. Under the Freedom of Information Act, every citizen has a right to ask his local government chairman and councils, ask his governors, what impact you are making in our communities with all of the federal monies coming to the state. It just can't only be Mr. President. He's putting the pressure on the governors. We hear it all the time, local government chairman. But we citizens also have a responsibility to help keep our elected leaders' feet to the fire. There's no crime in that. And that should be encouraged. These numbers are published every month. How much is state got in allocation? How much is local government got? What are we doing? We should ask more questions. I think that's the point you're making.
That is.
Now,
that is.
I think it is not only important, it is one of the responsibility of active citizenry. We need to ask those questions because the more educated we are about what's going on, the more our leaders understand that they're going to be asked questions and they will even do more. What we're asking is that subnationals do more in the rural areas. It's not enough to just do the cities. Our people are looking for the impact in rural areas. I'll give you something else going on. I was reading a report that now you can travel to London for less than ₦1 million, where there's BA, airpiece, and so on. You know why? Because it's cheaper now than it used to be. Why is it so? Because all the airlines' backlog of their funds that were trapped have been cleared. So they have restored Nigeria in getting discounted fares because they can take their money out. That's how business works.
And for a long time, that wasn't the case.
That wasn't the case. So this thing is impacting many sectors. Look at the banking system. I was reading another report where the CBN governor was saying a few days ago that diaspora remittances officially are now in excess of $800 million per month, and that he's targeting come the end of the year, $1 billion a month. Officially. I'm not talking about people who come in with $8,000, $9,000, less than $10,000 in their pockets and are spending. Because that's a huge chunk of the robust stability we have with regards to foreign exchange. Yes, they're defending the Naira a little bit, but it's a very measured way. So stability of the exchange rate can be predictable. That's what business people want. Predictability.
Indeed, exactly.
That's the point,
You
because
know,
that's how business confidence comes. And it has now started to come. So here we go. More than double the oil production. The last few months were about 1.5 million barrels of crude per day. Can you beat that? So even though the price of crude is below budget, but because the numbers have doubled, the earnings are more. So forward sales are being paid. The IMF loan cleared out. The credit of our banks, letters of credit and respectability restored. Businesses who've been lined up to buy dollars and do business have all been cleared. Any legitimate requests for dollars are being met, and the reserves growing. So when Dr. Ngozi Iweala was talking about the World Trade Center coming out here and making the point he made, she was talking about that the Nigerian economy is stabilizing. We're not yet at stability, because that's a process. Inflation, debt, a level of debt, unemployment. You can go on and on. Stability, exchange rate, strength, and so on.
Yes, yes.
So that's a process, but that process is on, and that's what stabilization means. And before that, you have to go through stabilization to get to stability. So the process is on.
The process is on, and
Yes.
we've been hearing from, you know, economic experts, technocrats, that improvements are being made, no matter how microscopic.
Yes.
But the problem with that is that, as I just said, microscopic, and it doesn't translate to what people can see graphically.
Yes,
You know?
local areas. I keep talking about that. Our people in the local areas must feel the impact of the reform results.
Yes.
The results are coming. They are gradual. Listen, I keep saying it. I've said it on this platform and other platforms. It's like when a man or woman is hungry, or a child, and the food is on the fire, and you can see it cooking. You can smell it.
Yeah.
You can feel it. The hunger is contained because you know food is coming. It's going to get ready.
Indeed.
It's mind over matter. That's where Nigerians, we must all key in to say what we need to achieve is to see that these impacts for our people are actually beginning to happen and will continue to happen. Let me give you another example. People talk about debt. If you look at the numbers, debt is not bad when it's for productive means. If you borrow money for productivity, it's an investment. That's what Mr. President is doing. So look at the power sector, which is the key part of this. You cannot grow an economy without power supply. Energy supply is key, just like improved security is key. So look at the monies he got approval from National Assembly. Some 21 and some change $billion. We know where part of that money is coming from, the Chinese and so on. But look how he's deploying. 3 billion of that money going to Southeast and the super grids, power supply. $500 million of that money going to deepen the ports opportunities in the Southeast. Look at the confidence being restored for investors. Do you think Chief Adeleke will invest $2 billion to build a 1,250 megawatts of power, right? I'm just waiting for gas connection to get to the plant, to power it up. You think he would do that?
And even though some
without the confidence that this government and the policies are stabilizing and is an enabling environment being created, nobody would do that. Even the Nigerian stock market. Returns have improved this year by over 35%. So if you invested money at the beginning of the year in the stock market, you are 35% richer on the average. Why is that so? Confidence. The foreign portfolio investments are growing because people abroad can invest their money and take out their money. And if they didn't have the confidence that the economy is getting better and the enabling environment is growing, they won't bring their money.
You know, I wanted to...
And let me not lose this thought.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
Okay.
You see what part of what he did in Brazil? We know that we have expression of interest, that's what I call it, or you can say pledges of over $60 billion by foreign investors in Nigeria. But they're saying improve security, improve power supply, get your enabling environment readier, that money will come in. So you can now see why power supply and energy supply for Mr. President is key. It
is, and it is improving.
It is.
Let it be said. Although, you know, I don't know, they might have opened the phones, but somebody might phone in and say, speak about your area. You speak about your area. What? But it is, you know, holistically, it is improving. Again, that word, maybe relatively microscopically, but there are many.
But it will take some time. The question is are we better off than we were?
Indeed.
We are better off. And it's getting better.
At this point, take ADC.
Yes.
ADC, you know, this coalition.
Yes.
It is putting out there that the whole place is in shambles. Nothing is working. That's why we, members of ADC, think that put us in there, talking to the electorate perhaps, put us in there and come and see how to manage a country.
Yes, so it's, you know, I think it's an important conversation to have. And I keep saying what I've said many, many a time. We need credible opposition. Mr. President welcomes it.
Indeed.
Because credible opposition helps keep the government's feet on the fire. But how is it done effectively is a question. Policies, vision. What is your vision for Nigeria? In the case of where we are at the moment, what would you do differently from what Mr. President is doing? That's the important conversation.
A question that hasn't had many answers.
It is not the ambition. All you hear, and I remind opposition all the time, because credible opposition is good for our democracy. We want it. And I keep saying Mr. President welcomes it. He says it all the time. So let's have those who want to be president, because that's what the issue is. They're all looking for platforms to compete for the presidency. We don't have a problem with contesting for the president. But take us through first what your vision is.
What your ideas is.
What are you going to do for Nigerians? How are you going to do better? Now, and even now, why don't you start critiquing the policies to help this government fine-tune those policies by telling us how they could be doing it differently in a way that better impacts Nigerians? So Nigerians are no fools.
No.
Platform to contest election for the position of president is a different story. President are looking for a platform, we hear you, but that's ambition. What I think, and this is what I hear all the time, that Nigerians are talking about is, can you please take us through what your vision is? What are you going to do differently? How are you going to do it?
There have been no takers to that offer.
This is the point. So until we get to that point, I think it's just motion without movement. That's what I call it.
You know, talking about what you said, the president's vision, his dream, his plan for Nigeria, it shows, I think, that he came on board, he assumed office with a clear plan in mind. For so long, he's been thinking of human capital development. Remember when you go back to his colloquium, birthday colloquium ideas. Yes. And in Brazil the other day, he was asking the Nigerian community that had met him that, look, you know, there was a time where he had stated to them that there was a time when Nigeria and Brazil were more or less on the same footing. But look at where Brazil is today and look at where we are. So what happened was his question to what is it that they have that we don't?
Leadership. That is a simple answer. It's leadership. People who are prepared to put the people of Nigeria's interests first. People who will focus on the common good. People who will put their interests aside and say, what is in the best interest of our people? That's what leadership is about. And then you go drive it by example, leadership by example. Dream it, feel it, sleep it, touch it, focus on it. How do I make the lives of my people better? Now, for Mr. President, and this is my view, the man is struggling to deliver a legacy. This is one of the last hurrahs now. What else does he want? What else is he going to prove to anybody? So, it's a legacy project for him. Go back to this Brazil you just mentioned. Brazilian investors want to put $2 billion in Nigeria in meat, livestock business. You know, Brazil is all meat. They love them.
Yeah.
But what they're talking about is livestock value chain. They want to grow cattle. They will, out of it, milk, cheese, all the different derivatives of the value chain. That is important. So how do you go about it? That's what Mr. President is talking about. Governors, please give us land for ranches. So we stop this thing of running cattle by foot, 1,000 kilometers. You know what it takes to go from Maiduguri to Umuahia, for example? That's what this cattle is. And by the time they get there, the meat is gone bad.
Yeah.
The value, the quality is gone. It is in ranching, because ranching is big business.
You know,
so that's what the Brazilians are talking about. Can you give us livestock enabling environment? Ranches. Let's come and grow meat, export, local consumption, export, milk, cheeses. That's one of their strengths. So when you see the governor of Niger State, I was reading somebody say, hey, look at him, he's kneeling down in front of Mr. President. I was laughing. I said, the man found him an opportunity. He's got plenty of land in Niger State. He wants to grow, he wants to attract that big Brazilian business to his state. And my goodness, if I have to go and kneel down to support Mr. President to get that business to my people, I'm happy to do it. Let my people benefit from it. And then improvement in security. This is so important. I was reading a report where the National Security Advisor and his team are about to present a new strategy, security strategy. Remember, they already committed to forest guards. Governors are working community policing. So they too will close the gap on insecurity. Now they're talking about technology, intelligence to prevent insecurity before it actually happens. So being proactive rather than being reactive. Those are all important to enable these reforms, results, get to our local areas. Our people need to go to the farms. We need agriculture. Look at this economic history of Nigeria and what actually drives our GDP, agriculture. So people need to be in their farms.
You know, Mr. President brought it up in Brazil.
Absolutely.
He said his thrust is agriculture, and technology.
Correct. Correct.
You provide this, which Mr. President is working at. And there's another thing about Mr. President. Let it be said, it doesn't matter whether you're for him or against him.
Yes.
He seems to refuse to be distracted.
Yes.
All of the achievements, we emphasize that Mr. President will be the first to tell you that we're nowhere near where we want to be.
Correct.
But we are making steady, even if some will emphasize the microscopic progress.
Correct.
So he refuses to be distracted because he hasn't had the luxury of concentrating on development without distractions. Every now and again, there will be one other big distraction, be it security, be it natural disaster, be it whatever it is. And somehow he manages to, it goes back to the things you were talking about. He manages to take care of that, but not lose sight of his main purpose.
Absolutely.
Return to it.
So this is part of what I'm talking about.
Leadership.
Right? The man is cooked in the fire from Lagos State, two-term governor, active. He bid his time. He watched the system. And when the opportunity came, he got on with it to drive his legacy. But look, do you remember 2.5, 3 years ago? Many people were wondering if the man was strong enough to even get an airplane and arrive somewhere. But the man is the chief marketing officer of Nigeria, isn't he? Before you know it, he's in Japan, then he gets to Brazil, and all he's talking is business,
they were complainers, though.
Oh, yes.
See, remember?
Yes.
They were complainers.
And his back, focused, is all investment. Because democracy in poverty has no meaning.
Okay, we have a guest on the
Yes,
line.
yes.
Good morning, Mr. George. Thank you for calling in.
Okay, good morning.
Yes, we can.
Uncle Yori, I want to thank your guest for
Chief Jerry Chukwueke.
the presentation he's making. And I want to, through him, commend the Imo State governor for the initiative he has taken, making the common people to benefit from the government. I know that it's people like him that are advising the governor to do that. What the governor has done is going to encourage many other governors to follow suit. And from what he is saying, the recommendations, I've been listening to him, the recommendations he's making as to how to reach the grassroots with enabling empowerment. If an average governor does that, people will no longer be complaining that they are not feeling the impact of the reforms. We will get there, but if what he is saying is done and other governors follow suit, there is no way the complaints will not go down. So I want to commend the Imo State governor for that minimum wage he reduced, and to encourage other governors to follow suit. Sorry, in fairness to governors, because I've been asking questions around. In the past 8 months or so, the average governor has been doing more than he used to do. Though they have not, it is not in consonance with what they are getting now, but something better than what they were doing before. So they need to do more. If I were the president, the amount of money, well, you imagine 2 trillion naira being shared in 1 month. It's a lot of money, including 13% derivation for those who are in those 9 states that get money. It is time for the president to appoint what I would call presidential liaison officers with governors on the usage of this money. We know that the Constitution does not permit the president to dictate to any governor. But the money comes from the federal government, and the use of the money should also be monitored by the president. He is the one everybody is complaining about in the country. Now, governors are the ones to execute within the money that is being shared. There should be a way the president regularly monitors.
Every weekday on Business Nigeria, we uncover the secrets of the financial world.
We analyze the stock market, shares, bonds, and the thrilling world of cryptocurrency.
Facts matter. Our team dives deep to separate fact from popular opinion.
We simplify complex government policies as it impacts your everyday life, helping you navigate the ever-changing financial landscape.
Watch Business Nigeria.
To interrupt you. Do stay with us. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. And my guest is still Jerry Chukwueke, political affairs analyst, former chief technical advisor to the Imo State governor. And we've been looking at the president's poetic turn of phrase, more for its actual meaning. When he says that his reforms, he understands that they are unavoidably like bitter medicine that needs to be taken, and subsequently, when you forget when you don't have the fever anymore, you see that it was worth it. That was the way Mr. President couched it. Absolutely. But let me not lose track, because George in Lagos called in and had this idea about, look, without prejudice to the strictures of the Constitution and how governors are free to carry on, what about that idea of liaison officers? When these monies that are being, these humongous monies, 2 trillion in a month, this is beyond small change. How do we ensure that those that still need to be encouraged are indeed doing what the monies were disbursed for in the first place?
Yes, so Mr. President, as you know, meets with the governors regularly, officially or formally and even informally. And he continues to hammer away on the importance of taking full advantage of the opportunity now available in terms of robust funding to impact our local areas. But he goes beyond that. I'm sure you're aware that only in the last few days, Mr. President approved the South-South Economic Development Commission, Southwest Economic Development Commission, and the North-Central Economic Development Commission. He had already prior approved the Southeast Development Commission and went one step further, approved the establishment of the Southeast Investment Company and provided seed money, grant of 250 billion naira to enable them set up a structure to begin to attract investment and be part of raising money through equity funding for development to support what the governors and local governments are doing. Infrastructure, hospitals, education, any of the key areas of common value to those zones. That's the same thing I'm sure he's going to do with all these development commissions he just approved, taking the reform agenda and the results that we are now seeing back to our people. All politics is local. And I keep emphasizing that the best ways our governors, particularly the APC governors, can support Mr. President's re-election bid, when we get to that, is to get more work done in the local environments, our common people, suppliers, vendors, the teachers, small hospitals, health care, roads, bridges, drainage, jobs, and more jobs. The more our people feel the impact of this reform agenda, the more they're going to look favorably.
Indeed, the more reassured.
So they got work to do. Indeed. They're doing, but they got to do more.
Okay, I have someone else on the line. Yes. But can I just advise all people who call in to please not try and listen to the program off their television set. Please, when you speak with us and listen to what we say while you are on air, let it be via your phone. It causes problems if you try to raise the volume of your television set when you call in purporting to talk with us. Having said that, it's really for all viewers to help the smooth running of the program. A retired AIG, Mr. Durosimi, is on the line. Good morning to you, sir. Mr. Durosimi, can you hear us? Please go on.
Hello?
We are waiting for you. Please go on.
This is AIG. AIG don't say we retire online.
Okay. Go ahead, please.
Good morning there. I want to agree with the president that the measures taken are just like chloroquine. For those of us who know chloroquine, we know how bitter it is. But taking chloroquine, the relief is very, very, very good. So the actually removal of fuel subsidy and as well as unification of the system in this country. But the government as sub-national should be able to support the president in their especially agriculture. Agriculture is very important. Why the president is trying to make agriculture sexier with importation of tractors and other machinery from abroad. Our government and local government chairman too should support the government by at least bringing in handheld tractors, the ones that can use petrol, the ones that ordinary man can actually buy or hire. Instead of our youth riding Okada all about, they can get this type of machine to work in Nigerian farms. Now, in addition to that, what is happening to our solid minerals? Solid minerals, gold, and we have everything in Nigeria. We should pay attention to gold being stolen, being taken away from Zamfara by the bandits. And the one we have locally in Ilika and all the rest, gold can actually help our naira. We need to strengthen the naira. Otherwise, our neighbors will be coming to buy our food at a cheaper rate. Mr. President is doing very, very well, and those measures are actually stabilizing the economy. But the government as sub-national should try their best, just like Governor of Mo is doing, Governor of Kebbi is doing, Governor of Saibom is doing, and Governor of Niger is doing. They should support. If you can get all APC governors doing the right thing, at least Nigeria will be better off. Great decisions have been taken, and we are seeing the effects in the economy. Anyone who has taken chloroquine before knows that when taking chloroquine is bitter, but at the end of the day, the malaria will surely go. I agree with the President 100%.
Okay. Thank you very much. But I think talking medically with the example of chloroquine that you use, I think doctors are phasing out the use of chloroquine. You know, but we get the point.
Made, yes.
The point is made.
Yes, the point is, so let me just piggyback on it, one of the key points you made. And that is the issue of what Mr. President is doing with regards to first commercial agriculture.
Okay.
They made very significant investment in commercial agriculture equipment, invited governors to participate by making some contribution into that pot and also being part of that network of who gets how many. So our farmers can benefit, and I agree. And that's why improving security is key to it. So our farmers are able to return to the farms. That's one of the things keeping Mr. President up at night.
How does that square with the commentary we always get that agriculture is not a small business?
Right.
It's a humongous business,
yes,
and will necessarily have to involve technology, perhaps beyond the capability of our people. So that the gentleman who called in, Mr. Drosimi, he has often made the point that, look, you're bringing in the latest high-tech, the massive Ferguson trucks and all of that, but our people, perhaps they need to start from hand trucks, hand, implements that
but
they
we have
can
to learn
understand.
these things, because part of how you work it is to bring in private sector participation.
Okay.
In our rural areas and farmlands, if you partner with private sector and they get to run it, it makes it easier to train and manage our people in that direction.
As opposed to handling everything governmentally
yes,
at that level and just,
as
it were, dumping equipment on each state.
A lot of our young people are technology savvy, and they can become the trainer's trainer. They learn and they teach others. It requires, in my view, private sector partnership.
Okay.
At the subnational levels.
Okay.
That is important.
Okay.
Now, the second point he made had to do with solid minerals. That is a major low-hanging fruit for this government. Look, you see the initial efforts they are making. You have security agencies going after illegal miners, clearing them out the way, okay, prosecuting them, is the foundation for essentially creating an enabling environment for investors to come and mine for not just rare earth minerals, but also the many minerals we have, gold and copper and so on. Now, if Mr. President and his team continue to make progress in that regard, I want you to imagine the sort of revenue that will eventually start to come into the federal coffers as a result of export earnings from solid minerals. That's what he was talking about.
Yes.
And that is very important. For many, many, many years, it was abandoned to bandits and all manners of illegal, immigrants who just came in to exploit our minerals and take them away. I'm not opposed to immigrants, but we need to do the right thing.
We need to do it the right way.
And the right way. So I think the effort in trying to sanitize that environment so that it will be enabling for investors to now start to participate in it, both local and foreign investors.
We keep going back to this point about an enabling environment.
That's the key.
That's the key to
that
it all.
That is the key.
But let me not lose sight of Kesandu, who has called in from Owerri. Good morning, Kesandu. Thank you for calling in. Kesandu, good morning.
Good morning, Kyori.
Okay, please go ahead.
Good morning, Kyori. Can you hear me?
Good morning, sir. We're waiting for you. There's a lag. We have a lag, but please go ahead. I hope you're not listening to us off your television set.
Good morning, Kyori.
Kesandu, good morning, Biko.
Hello, Kyori. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Go ahead now. I can hear you. But you can't use your television set to be listening to the program while you are calling in. So please go ahead if you are speaking into your phone. Go ahead, sir. There's this. Hello, were you going to say something? Go on, go on. We're waiting. We want to hear from you. Kesandu. Kesandu.
Good morning, Kyori.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Ndajiri Chukwueke.
Yes.
My name is Kesandu. I'm calling you from Itoboma this morning. You see, sir, I just want to believe, Chief, that the illustration you made about the government for the president is just a joke, because I strongly believe that there is no basis to genuflect if you want to do something right. But that is aside. Please, sir, I perfectly agree with you for all you've said. You understand? For highly cerebral people like you and exposed people like you, some of these things are very, very cool and okay. But I want to say, sir, if the president or any leader can actually wake up in the morning, because some of us Nigerians are becoming so uncomfortable that want to destroy policies or want to destroy the country or want to do certain things that will have adverse effect on the country, it doesn't take so much time. But when it comes to rebuilding the country and actually trying to work, they're telling us to have so much patience. I want to say something. If a woman from the Hito Burma could wake up in the morning that she bought yesterday to go to Oriago market and bought oil for 300 naira, waking up in the morning that the Mr. President subsidy has stopped, and everything in the Burma market skyrocketed. And now they are still coming back to tell the woman it was the first drastic measures and ensure that we're getting and fixing things right. This same woman is buying a bag of rice for almost 100,000, sir. And they're telling this woman that, yes, there are significant things happening in the economy, whereas the facts on ground are not saying it. So you go to a common market and you cannot purchase anything. That is the truth. You go to the least market around, we can't get anything. And you're telling these people that, yes, there are significant things. But, sir, are you saying think there is nobody that can even be president of Nigeria today and take certain drastic measures and for us to start getting things right. Because I'm not saying that things should be done immediately. Everything will have to be fixed immediately. But please, there are certain things to alleviate the sufferings of the masses. And those things, we are not really seeing them. And that is the worry of the people.
Kesandu, you've made your point. Let Jerry, have an opportunity to address them.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. First, the point I made about the governor of Niger State was only a figure of speech. He was a member of the delegation to Brazil. And the focus he had was what Mr. President was working on, the commitment of the Brazilian business community to invest in livestock value chain.
Yes.
And so when I said he genuflected on that, he was basically appreciative. That's what I was talking about. Figure of speech, I was appreciative of Mr. President encouraging that investment opportunity, which he feels strongly, and rightly so, will benefit his people tremendously. And you can see what he did a couple of days ago. He dissolved his cabinet yesterday, looking for more people, better people. How do I implement, get ready, get a more enabling environment? I have people who want to put money in my state. That's what he's thinking about. Now, I'm going to come to these local environments, local areas we're talking about, because that's the point he was making, isn't it? Well, how our people are feeling. Now, I want you to imagine, when we talk about what's happening in some states, when you increase salaries, when you do a safety net empowerment, like 100,000 naira in each ward for 1,000 people, when you hire more teachers, when you now let more local government monies flow to the local governments, small contractors and vendors and so on, that's addressing part of what he's talking about. But having said that, inflation, which was another point he made indirectly, is actually stabilizing and coming down. Even food...
The effects are still biting,
yes,
is what Chukwueke Kesandu was relating to.
Yeah.
And it is undeniable.
It is undeniable.
But is it where it was at the very beginning?
He made a point about a bag of rice, 100,000. I don't know when he was last in the market. I don't know when he was last in the market. But the price of a bag of rice is come down to between 65 and 80,000. That's what's current. So are things getting better? Yes, but step by step, because these reforms, the results will take some time. But the issue is subnationals, governors, and local governments, get on with more work. You got more money to help our people achieve not just more economic stability, but the impact of these reforms.
And there's a lot of work to be done.
Indeed.
Nobody is denying that.
Yes, indeed.
You know, Jerry, I want to thank you very much. I really want to appreciate you. It's always exciting when you come on. And, it's also full of knowledge. But then, former chief technical advisor to the Imo State governor, I suppose one can relate to that. Also a political affairs analyst. We don't have the time, but there will be another day.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. So my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Indeed. Pleasure is all ours. So we're going to have to leave it there today, but do please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folani. Bye-bye for now.